ask God for forgiveness?
I couldn't let you leave. God didn't love you yet.
Hello everybody, welcome back to Screenstars. I'm here today to bring you my review for the 2022 horror slasher film, Children of Sin, a film that is written and directed by Christopher Wesley Moore, who also appears in the film. And the film stars Meredith Moeller, Carrie Roebuck, and Joanne Robinson. Now, the film focuses on a brother and a sister who, so the sister has got pregnant. The brother is gay, although he's scared to come out in front of his parents, or his mum and his stepdad anyway, because the stepdad is a bit of a religious nut, and he's very controlling of the family and the kids, and obviously he's scared to come out. However, both their secrets are revealed, and as a punishment of sorts, they are sent to a religious retreat, I suppose you could call it, that is run by a firm hand from a character called Mary, played by Joanne Robinson, who proceeds to try and remove sin from not just these brother and sister, but a number of other children who are at this retreat. And she's got some curious methods to cure these so-called sins. Right. What are my thoughts on Children of Sin? Well, this is definitely a low-budget film. However, I don't necessarily think it particularly harms it. Overall, anyway, there are a number of moments in the film where the budget definitely does and is highlighted. But for the most part, I think the film is or has got quite a lot of strong performances in it that certainly don't completely remove you from the immersion of the film. Once or twice, but not consistently, which can obviously be a problem with low budget films. It's got a real retro look and feel about the film as well, and in actual fact it's very much a throwback to the slashers in years gone by. I'm talking about Friday the 13th. Certainly I got the impression that this film was certainly definitely leaning heavily into that franchise more than most slashers. So yeah, it's like a retro throwback to previous slashers, but it's got like these religious undertones throughout the whole thing as well, which adds a little bit of different flavour to the film. I think one of the major factors for me, certainly, why I quite enjoyed this, even though I do think the film has its flaws for sure, was Joanne Robinson, who's something of an industry veteran, I suppose, in this genre, certainly, who plays this crackpot owner of this retreat, who's completely devoted to like trying to cure these children of these so-called ailments that they have of lesbianism or being gay or pregnant before the time, all this kind of stuff. And the concept itself is just beyond belief. I know, certainly this day and age, but it knows that, you know what I mean? It knows the concept is ridiculous, and they play around with that idea as well. Because most of these teens are obviously rebellious about the fact because you are who you are, and this film very much favours that point of view. But this character of Mary, who runs the retreat, I mean, she's a psycho, complete and utter psycho. And if you analyse it too much, I mean, basically, while you're at this retreat, you've got 3 strikes and you're out. And trust me, when I say you're out, when you get your 3rd strike, you are definitely out. Because she just loses it and you are done for, basically. Knives come out, the whole shebang, and you're never seen again. And in some cases, the only time you are seen is in the cuisine that is being served up. She's a complete and utter crackpot. But I really enjoyed her character. I thought she was actually pretty iconic, if I'm being honest. I really enjoyed her performance. It was manic. It was crazy. But I did quite like her character, I'm not going to lie. The brother and sister were both pretty good in their roles, like, they're being the rebellious teens and pushing back and all this kind of stuff, as were some of the other teens that were at this facility. I think, but the problem is with this film is, if you think about it too much, there's like plot holes literally everywhere. For starters, at the beginning, this character Emma, who discovers that she's pregnant. Obviously, she doesn't want her religious nut of a stepfather finding out, and her mother. So what does she do? Leave the pregnancy kit on plain sight in the bathroom bin? Would you really do them sort of things? Of course you wouldn't. Another gaping hole in the film is the fact that, this crackpot woman, Mary, who's killing all these kids, would know. I mean, some of the parents send them there because they never really want to see him again, because they're embarrassed about who they are. But there would be a good portion of them that genuinely think this retreat is going to cure them of their sins, as manic as that, stupid as that sounds. So why would they never come looking for their kids? I mean, these kids literally in this film are going down at a regular basis, being taken out by this crackpot woman, this religious nut of a woman. And nobody thinks to come and look for these kids. It's a bit crazy. And there's other things as well. At one point in the film, they get the upper hand, these kids. And why would you not tie somebody up once you've knocked them out? Why would you just continue along your way looking for this, that, or the other? Tie up that crazy woman on the floor before she gets up and up. Too late. It's one of those things that just gets quite frustrated, because it's one of those films that uses the tried and tested horror tropes that we've seen over the years that don't necessarily work as good as they used to in the 80s and the 90s. So it does lack a little bit of originality here and there, this film. But I'm not going to lie, I was actually quite entertained by it. It's got a pretty cool soundtrack as well. It's synth-heavy soundtrack. It's quite retro in how it presents itself, and fans of slasher films will probably quite appreciate this one. For a low-budget film, it actually, I think, does a pretty decent job, which is why I'm going to give it a 5.5 out of 10. It was almost a 6 out of 10 because I really did quite enjoy it, and I thought it was well made for a low-budget independent horror film. So, yeah, quite enjoyed this one. Check it out if you're a fan of slasher films. If you're not, then you're probably not going to enjoy this one particularly. But I certainly thought there was quite a bit of fun to be had here. So thanks for watching, everybody. Hope you enjoyed the review. I'll be back with more reviews and content on the channel very, very soon.